How we doing, people? This video spawned because of some comments I've been getting on a lot of my recent team builds and stuff for Pokemon, and I thought it'd just be helpful because, you know, people want to get into Pokemon, but it is such a daunting game to get into because there's so many things that you need to kind of learn about in order to actually start competing and doing stuff like that. It's very easy to go online and start doing battles, but having a proper team that can actually start, you know, working your way up the ladder, that's something that's really tough to do, and it took me a lot of time to get into it. So I've had some questions, you know, what are some team comps, stuff like that, how do you go about building teams? And I have a team building guide that kind of shows the process, but I kind of just wanted to throw out some popular team ideas, like strategies that people are using, so people kind of have somewhat of an idea where to start when crafting their team. So I hope this video is helpful. If it is, let me know in the comments below. Again, it's something to remember. I'm just a casual Pokemon player. I do this for fun. I have a lot of fun making teams, but my teams aren't like top tier or anything. I've hit Master Ball tier a couple times, but I'm not winning tournaments or anything. I'm just having a good time with the game. So if you're trying to get in and casually play, you know, maybe do some tournaments in a local area or something, this video hopefully will be helpful to you. But if this is your first time here on the channel, be sure you're subscribed for more Pokemon and video game related content in the future. But let's get into this. Okay, so I'm here on Pokemon Showdown, and Pokemon Showdown is a tool I've talked about constantly when I do these kinds of videos. It's just a really nice tool. You just type in PokemonShowdown.com. It'll be in the description below if you want to check it out. It's just a super helpful tool for building teams outside of the game that you can then create in-game in order to start competing. It just saves you a lot of time. You don't breed some mess up Pokemon, you know, you don't make a team and then find out the team doesn't quite work the way you wanted it to work. It's just a great tool, and I recommend utilizing it. So I'm gonna just kind of go into the team builder and talk about some different team styles, and hopefully, you know, I'll edit in some stuff above my head that'll give some information about some teams and stuff. So I'm just gonna go through a list of very popular strategies, and we'll just talk about them a little bit. Now, I am going to set this to VGC 2021, which is the latest thing, and that brings us to the first kind of Pokemon that you are probably going to want to try and rotate in your team if at all possible, and those are just legendary Pokemon. The Crown Tundra added every old legendary Pokemon into the game, and this counts legendaries and mythicals, and because these are all in the game, that means some are actually allowed in competitive play, such as Heatran, Glastrier, let's see here, what else we got? Landorus, Thundurus, Tornadus, those kind of Pokemon are allowed in the competitive scene. So I personally am more of a fan of non-legendary metagames. I liked playing competitive a lot more before all the legendaries were allowed in play, but the fact of the matter is legendaries just have very good stats, so you're going to end up finding legendaries that can do things that older Pokemon you might have tried to use in the past. These legendaries can probably do what they could do better because of their stats. So you're probably just going to end up trying to rotate a couple legendary Pokemon into your party to some capacity. Whether it be, you know, the Tapus or something like that, there's likely going to be at least one legendary in your lineup. Now, this isn't always the case, but it is just super common now. That's just the metagame you're going to end up seeing. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a Trick Room team. Trick Room, if you're unaware, is a move that when used makes the slowest Pokemon on the field attack first. It's super fun. It's super fun to set up, especially good when you're playing against speed teams, you know, things that are setting Tailwind. It's a very fun and very popular strategy to use. There's tons of Pokemon that can activate Trick Room, so there's just a lot that you can really do here. And, you know, super common Trick Room users, because people were asking, well, what is good for certain comps? So, you know, Dusclops is a very popular Trick Room setter with an Eviolite. Very popular Trick Room setter because it's such a bulky Pokemon naturally, as well as with the Eviolite, it gets a bunch of special defense and defensive stats, so really good Pokemon for Trick Room. Other popular ones are Hatterene. Hatterene's very popular for Trick Room. There's just a bunch of options that you can do. Now, things with Trick Room, you can use it both for your team or to counter Trick Room, because if someone on the opposing team activates Trick Room and then your Pokemon then activates Trick Room, it just goes back to normal, and whatever the fastest Pokemon is going to attack. So say you're running a speed team, you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, and you're running Whimsicott with Tailwind. Tailwind sets up plus speed for 4 turns. It's the opposite of Trick Room. It's just going to make your team very fast. You're not going to want them to set Trick Room if you're using a Tailwind team, so maybe you'll try to incorporate some Trick Room user just to counter the Trick Room. So in that situation, one of my favorites to counter I like Chandelure. Chandelure does a really good job. I used it in the team that I built in my competitive Pokemon team guide. This is a really good one to just kind of counter the Trick Room. But then also, if you're running a speed team, it's also kind of helpful to have a couple Pokemon that may, work in a Trick Room setting in case you can't succeed in countering the Trick Room. Other ways to counter Trick Room are things like Fake Out. Fake Out makes Pokemon flinch. If they flinch, they can't use Trick Room. Taunt is another good move. So using Pokemon that can utilize those things, Whimsicott can do that also. You can give Whimsicott Taunt. Very good there. Whimsicott can also learn Trick Room. So if you want to counter Trick Room, you can use it on Whimsicott here. So there's a bunch of options that you can do to either counter Trick Room or set Trick Room up. So these are all things, and the best way I recommend going about doing this is when you come to Pokemon Showdown and you're looking to set up a team based on a certain thing. Like, let's say we want to do a speed team, Tailwind. We can look and it'll pull up the Pokemon that can use that move. That's a super helpful tool. Same with Trick Room. If I want to use Trick Room, I pull it up here. It's just very, very helpful to see what's super popular, and it is ranked, of course. They show which ones are super popular that are using these moves, so you can kind of pick and choose how you want to do it. So that covers Trick Room and speed teams. There's a bunch of other team types, and I'm probably not even going to be able to cover all of them here, but we're going to talk about a couple others here. Weather is the next one. There's a ton of different weather effects that you can use to kind of, change up the battle. So a super popular one is Solar Power. You use a Pokemon with Drought because Solar Power increases the damage of whichever Pokemon has, increases the special attack of whichever Pokemon is using it. So it's very popular to run with Charizard. And that is whenever the sun is active. Sun teams are very popular because of this. So you use Pokemon that with the Drought ability because when those Pokemon are thrown out, they activate the sunlight. Things like Torkoal, Groudon, Ninetales, they're very, very popular for setting the sun. Also, you could use Sunny Day. It's a little less effective, but Drought is the main source of this. So you see a lot of Torkoal and Ninetales with Charizard, things like that. Also, there is the Chlorophyll ability. And this is very popular on Venusaur here. Sunny Day is active, the Pokemon's speed is doubled. So again, it's another way to utilize the sun so that way your Pokemon get bonus stats. So there's a sun team there. There's also Drizzle, where Pokemon set rain because some Pokemon move faster in the rain with Swift Swim ability. Things like that to consider. There's also, Sandstorm. Sandstream, when you throw these Pokemon out, they actually set a Sandstorm, and some Pokemon benefit from that. So things like, I think it's there's Sand Rush, there's Sand Veil, things like that. Sand Rush is going to increase the speed of a Pokemon in the Sandstorm, so there's a bunch of different team strategies that you can use. There's also Weather Ball, which is a normal type move that changes its typing based on the type of weather set. So Charizard with Weather Ball on a rain team could end up using a water move, which is super strange, and people don't normally see stuff like that coming. So there's a lot of different pieces that you can throw together to just try and set it up. So Pokemon, for a Sun team, like I mentioned, you're going to have Ninetales, Torkoal, Groudon when Groudon eventually becomes legal in play. Drizzle for rain teams, you're going to have Politoed, Pelipper. Those are very popular ones. If we're going to do Sandstream, things like Tyranitar, Hippowdon, Gigalith, those are going to set your Sandstream. There's also Hail teams. Let's see, Hail. Oh, what's it called? Snow Warning. Snow Warning's what it's called. So there's Hail teams as well. You do Hail teams, Snow Warning. These Pokemon will set the Hail when you rotate them in. So there's a bunch of different weather style teams that you can use. Then we move on to teams with like setup potential, where there's a Pokemon that you're trying to get in position to actually, do something. So this is a whole lot of combination of things, okay? This isn't like, you have a main theme, like, you're using weather or you're using Trick Room. This is a Pokemon that has a bunch of different stats that are going to benefit you if you can get it set up properly. So, for example, a team that I recently talked about in my guide, and I actually made a whole video regarding this team, was my Flapple Hustle team. So Flapple has the ability Hustle, which the Pokemon's attack is 1.5 times higher, and the accuracy of its physical attacks is reduced to 0.8%. Well, 2.8. So this means that it's less likely to hit, but it's going to hit harder when it does. So Flapple is very high in attack as well as speed. So I give it a Choice Scarf. Seeing how I mentioned there's a bunch of different things that are happening. The Choice Scarf gives it an additional 1.5 times speed. This makes sure it attacks fastest. And then Dragon Dance. The only problem with the Choice Scarf is that this means it can only use the first move it utilizes. So I'm going to activate Dragon Dance because Dragon Dance is going to raise the attack and speed. Then I'm going to Dynamax it. That's the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Dynamax, and that is going to ensure all my attacks hit regardless. So that way I can sweep everything and utilize the hustle just 100%. I'm not going to miss. It's not going to be a problem. So that is how you set up. And when you have a setup Pokemon, you're likely trying to keep other attacks off of it. So you're going to use a Pokemon with Follow Me. Follow Me is a move that makes sure that the Pokemon that are attacking can only attack the Pokemon using Follow Me unless they have an attack that uses, like Earthquake or Heat Wave that attacks both Pokemon on the field. So Pokemon that are very popular with this, Clefable is very popular with that, Togekiss is very popular, so Pokemon like that. Indeedee is very good with Follow Me, so I ran Clefable in this team with Follow Me, so I throw it out, and usually you want your Follow Me Pokemon to be very beefy so they can take a bunch of hits, so you can just use this as a sweeper. So I use Follow Me a bunch, I sweep a bunch of Pokemon with Flapple. Eventually Flapple is just going to kind of be useless once it goes back from Dynamax because it's going to have to only use Dragon Dance. So that's an example of a setup. Another example of a setup team was it's a very old video, I'll link it here, was I used Greedent, and this is a strategy that A-Drive used as well. Greedent had I don't even remember what berry I had on it, but had a berry of some sort. I don't know, I'm just going to give it a random one. Let's just say this one. And it uses Cheek Pouch. Cheek Pouch, when a Pokemon eats a berry, it restores 1/3 of its max HP after the berry's effect. And, you get Belly Drum on this. So that way, it loses 50% max HP, but it maximizes the attack. Then I ran it with Oranguru. And Oranguru has Symbiosis, so it gets to give the item it holds to the Pokemon next to it. This you give a Citrus Berry. So that way, if Greedent uses Belly Drum and takes a bunch of hits, he's first going to use his berry to heal back up from the Belly Drum. Then if it takes another hit that turn, you're going to get Symbiosis to take the berry over here, and it's going to be given to Greedent so it stays at full health so you're ready to go for the next turn. Also, Greedent's very slow, so you're in Trick Room and Instruct, because Instruct is going to allow Greedent to attack twice because it makes whatever Pokemon you use Instruct on do the same attack again. So it's just a whole bunch of setup. This is the idea of a setup team, and there's a bunch of different ones that you can kind of mess around with. It is a lot more to make a setup team than it is to do like a theme team. And I know this video is getting kind of long, but the last thing I want to talk about is just item-based teams. So an example of an item-based team is my Glastrier team that I've used. So Glastrier, I'm running Weakness Policy on. This is if the holder is hit by a super effective move, it is going to raise the attack and special attack of this Pokemon. So this is something that is strictly based on the item. This Pokemon's very good normally, but it's even better with the item. There's other things that can do things like this. Life Orb increases damage. So stuff like that. There's also Blunder Policy, I believe. If the holder misses due to accuracy, its speed is doubled and raised by 2 stages. So there's a bunch of different items that can be set up to kind of shape the battle as well. So things like that. But that is my list of things that you can do to kind of get your feet wet and start putting teams together. There's a bunch of different ideas I've given you here, and hopefully this video is helpful to you guys that are trying to get into team building. But that is going to be it for this video. Like I said, I hope you found it entertaining and helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a like and smash the subscribe button for more videos like this in the future. Share the video with your friends. Let's grow this community here on the channel. Speaking of community, we got a community Discord. People over there playing games like Pokemon, Animal Crossing, a bunch of other stuff. So check that out. If that is something that interests you. I do stream over on Twitch. It probably won't stream for a little while because of finals coming up. So that's just going to be a pain to try and stream and study and do all that stuff. So check it out if that is something that interests you. I'll probably be playing Call of Duty or something on there because I do have my new Xbox, which I have some videos on if that is something that interests you as well. And then all my other social media should be on screen here at this point. So if you're interested in keeping up with me, this channel, the stream, anything like that, check me out there as well. But like I said, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.